This video is aimed at patients and members of the public interested in finding out about the quality and outcomes in oral and maxillofacial surgery project. Oral and maxillofacial surgery is the surgical specialty interested in the diagnosis and treatment of disease affecting the mouth, jaws, face, and neck. It includes a series of very different subspecialties like oral, skin, and salivary gland cancers, reconstruction, oral and dental surgery, trauma, orthodontic surgery, to only cite a few. Oral and maxillofacial surgery is a relatively young surgical specialty. Its areas of interest overlap with other specialties like plastic surgery and ear, nose, and throat. In the current healthcare landscape, clinicians need to show that the care they provide is of the highest quality, that it has a positive effect on the patient's health and well-being, and that its provision is sustainable within existing economic constraints. Currently, there is no national data collection system for monitoring performance in the oral and maxillofacial surgery specialty. That's why the British Association of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeons, BAOMS, initiated the Quality and Outcomes in Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery Project, or QOMS, to be a national quality improvement in clinical effectiveness program for oral and maxillofacial surgery. What does it mean? Well, quality improvement aims to review clinical performance against standards and taking action when those standards are not met, in order to improve care for patients. This is generally achieved by performing clinical audits and, when those standards are available, service evaluations. Clinical effectiveness attempts to bridge gaps in knowledge by putting together information from patients to identify, for example, commonalities in patterns of disease. This can be achieved with disease or procedure-specific registries. Although different, quality improvement and clinical effectiveness can use the same tools, that is, real-world data in clinical registries. A clinical registry is a database where clinical data is stored. Those registries can have different areas of focus. For clinical audits, the interest is to assess and improve performance and outcomes, while for clinical effectiveness, the starting point is looking at outcomes to guide future medical decision-making by determining what works or not. Each process needs to measure patient outcomes. Therefore, QOMS needs to collect clinical data about patients. And QOMS will do so in a series of registries covering the following oral and maxillofacial subspecialties: oral and dental surgery, oncology or cancer, orthodontic or jaw surgery, reconstruction, trauma, skin cancer, and salivary gland cancer. QOMS may in time expand to other areas of practice. Overall, QOMS aims to draw an accurate picture of oral and maxillofacial care in the UK, for surgeons to measure and improve their performance, for patients to be able to make informed choices about their care, and for commissioners to support provision of oral and maxillofacial surgical care. What do we mean by collecting data? Patient data can be divided into identifiable information like your name, NHS number, gender, date of birth, while clinical data include information about your health, diagnosis, surgery, and recovery. Identifiable information is generally used for management to easily communicate with clinicians to check missing information and potential mistakes. Clinical data is used to assess outcomes and performance. Both types of data are also used to describe groups of patients and compare hospitals and risk-adjusted results in order to have an accurate representation of care. Risk adjustment refers to a set of statistical techniques used to adjust results according to some characteristics, thus making the results more comparable and easier to interpret. The data collected by QOMS is surgeon-led, based on expert opinion and literature review. and we are trying to only collect the information essential to fulfill our goals. What happens to the data collected? Because QOMS is a national project, we had to centralize data collection. Data is stored on secure servers in the UK, managed by the Barts Cancer Research UK Centre from Queen Mary, University of London. We chose this institution because of their experience in managing patient data and for the level of services they offered. Several checkpoints to ensure data safety are in place. A secure interface to collect data, no sharing with outside unauthorized third party, especially a commercial one. Before leaving the secure computer, the data is anonymized. After being used, the data is either anonymized and archived or deleted. Anonymization means that patient identifier like NHS number or date of birth are deleted. In summary, clinical data and, by extension, identifiable information is stored securely and encrypted in the database. Its access is controlled and limited. Only the project manager has access to all the identifiers in the central database. Before the data is analyzed, identifiers are transformed, for example, a date of birth into an age, a postcode into a socio-economic information, or they are removed. The data is not shared with unauthorized third parties or for any commercial purposes. Finally, identifiable information is kept for a limited amount of time only, up to 1 year for postcode and for 4 years for other identifiable information. How is data collected? In England and Wales, we have obtained the authorization to collect and process data without seeking patients' consent. It is known as Section 251, and it is obtained after a detailed application is submitted to the Confidentiality Advisory Group of the Health Research Authority. Elsewhere, data is collected anonymously in the other UK nations and beyond. We have, however, submitted an application to the Public Benefit and Privacy Panel for Health and Social Care in Scotland, which is similar to Section 251. Here, we look at the principal patient identifiable information items collected. NHS number is collected to link QOMS records with hospital records. Gender and date of birth are used to double-check NHS number validity and for risk adjustment. Postcodes are also used for risk adjustment and also to compare hospitals and assessing postcode lottery. One of the underlying principles of the project is that what we are assessing should be relevant, measurable, and actionable by the surgical team. QOMS was designed for and developed by oral and maxillofacial surgeons. It is surgeon-centric, as shown by the type of outcomes currently measured on the left. We hope that in the future we will be able to include other outcomes that focus more on patients, like functional outcomes, quality of life, and other patient-reported outcomes like psychological and emotional journeys. QOMS is overseen by its steering committee and the BAMS Council. The QOMS team has grown to include an information governance group and a patient and public involvement group. Audit activity has been divided into 3 groups to review and develop our data collection tools. If you would like to find out more about QOMS, please visit our website or send your questions to quoms@bams.org.uk, that's QOMS@BAOMS.org.uk. For updates, follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video.